Hello everyone and welcome to our latest update on Major Hurricane Beryl. I'm Aria and today we are going to bring you the latest information on this rapidly intensifying storm. As of the latest advisory, Sunday, June 30th, 2024, Hurricane Beryl has become a dangerous Category 3 hurricane. Let's get right into the details, alright? Alright, so let's, first of all, I'd like to talk about its current status. Hurricane Beryl is currently located at 10.6 degrees north, longitude 53.9 degrees west, at 420 miles or 675 kilometers east-southeast of Barbados. Hurricane Beryl is moving west at a speed of 21 miles an hour or 33 kilometers per hour. So, I want to talk about a little bit about the current stats. They're showing latest update gave it a winds 115. Aircraft reconnaissance went in there and found winds of 105 knots, 120 miles per hour. Air pressure they were showing was 968. They just went in again and found an air pressure there of 964 millibars. So, there have been a lot of significant changes since we last made the video. Now, in terms of updates with watches and warnings, the government of Trinidad has currently upgraded the tropical storm warning to a hurricane warning. Tobago. The current hurricane warnings are in effect for Barbados, Lake St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, and Tobago. Additionally, a tropical storm warning is currently in effect for Martinique, and a tropical storm watch is in effect for Dominica. I do want to talk a little bit about the impacts that we were going to see because of how severe of a storm that we're seeing and how rare this is going to be. There are going to be some impacts that you were not going to be expecting in the early beginning of July when this makes landfall. This is probably the farthest east hurricane that is developed on record. I think the other one was the Category 1 hurricane, and that was farther west than this one was, and that was 1933, and that was a very catastrophic hurricane season. Not that it will be, but just that it could possibly be a sign of what's to come. So I definitely want to talk about the flooding. I want to talk about I want to talk about the islands, where these conditions are going to be at the islands, and I really want to get a lot deeper into the possible, idea of how strong the storm is going to be when this approaches. So as you can see, here's the tropical storm force wind probabilities, 100%. All right. Even areas like Trinidad and Tobago have a low but possible chance of seeing tropical storm conditions. But mainly these southern islands, are going to be seeing a lot of these definitely not only just tropical storm force winds, but also hurricane force winds and hurricane conditions as well. All right, so again, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, St. Lucia, Martinique, even Dominica and Guadalupe could also see some tropical storm conditions. Guadalupe, I don't really think has the greatest chance, but definitely Martinique, St. Lucia, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Grenada are all likely. 60 miles an hour, again, very, very likely. More concentrated to where the core of the storm is going to go. So mainly I'm going to say areas like St. Lucia and Martinique. Those areas will really see, again, those 60 plus mile an hour winds. And then here for hurricane, right now it's not showing it as well, but again, very, very likely, again, 60-70% chance of seeing these hurricane force conditions. And again, mainly St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia are all mainly going to be the main islands that are going to see the hurricane conditions. Now, I also want to talk a little bit about the rainfall. All right, so some areas like Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada could all see some areas 6-8 inches. For Barbados up towards of 8 inches. But the Grenadines, right where we believe this core, where the National Hurricane Center believes where the core of the hurricane will go, they could see up towards the 10 inches, which is going to be very, very severe. It's a very mountainous island nation. This is a volcanic island chain, so this is very mountainous, and so mudslides, landslides are very possible, as they will see lots of flooding, lots of rain over a relatively short period of time, because this will be moving pretty quickly, 20 plus miles per hour Oh, this isn't going to be slow. You're not going to be seeing this. You're not going to be seeing heavy rain for 2, 3, 4 days or anything. Thank God. Again, this is where the current storm is. It's got a very small, relative to what we're looking to see here, tropical storm force wind field and a very small hurricane force wind field. So wherever the storm goes, again, I'm mainly along these islands right through here, this island, and then Barbados right there will also get under the hurricane warning. There's all these small islands between Grenada and St. Vincent in the Grenadine. So those are the very small islands that are going to be impacted, I believe, as this hurricane moves right through there. They could see those direct impacts. And again, we are expecting this to be hurricane, Category 4 hurricane, based on how fast the storm has intensified. We do expect possibly could be a Category 4 by 10 a.m., but most likely it will be Category 4 later this afternoon, later tonight. Conditions are going to start deteriorating late tonight into the early morning hours of Monday, and will only get worse as the storm approaches and then it makes landfall. So, talking a little bit about the key messages. Hurricane Beryl is expected to be an extremely dangerous Category 4 when it reaches the Windward Islands early Monday, bringing destructive hurricane force winds and life-threatening storm surge. Hurricane warnings are in effect for much of the Windward Islands. There'll also be very heavy rains, localized flooding is also expected across the Windward Islands Monday tonight into Monday. Now, currently interested in the Central and Western Caribbean should still continue to monitor the progress of the system. Users are reminded that, again, there is large amounts of uncertainty as days 4 and 5, and not just focus on specific details on the track or anticipated forecast, because these storms can change direction, and also sometimes the storms weaken, they also sort of start to expand, and so the impacts may be felt far away from the center of the storm. So it's not just a dot or a line on a map. It encompasses a much larger area than just that. Earliest arrival time of winds. Or I'm going to need to zoom this in. Actually, I'm going to turn this off, because that's going to be hard to read, especially when we're getting right close. Down here, looking at this again, we're talking about Monday, a little earlier than Monday, very early hours on Monday. Barbados will be starting to see those impacts coming through, and then as we get into the later hours, a little earlier than 8 a.m., I would say about 6 a.m., those tropical storms, 6 a.m., we'll really see those tropical storms, those hurricane conditions making their way through the southern islands. Again, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, St. Lucia, and those other smaller nations south of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We'll also see those, the Grenadine Islands will see lots of those hurricane conditions, lots of flooding, lots of strong winds. But again, this is not going to be something that's going to last for a very long and extended period of time. This is old. I was looking at that. So again, here's the latest advisory. It is currently a Category 3 major hurricane, 115 miles an hour. And again, if I go to tropical tidbits, we can actually look. So you can see there's the eye that is starting to pop out. That is a sign that this storm is clearing out. And as that eye pops out, we do also expect that air pressure to continue to drop. Lots of deep convection with this system and around the eye. Looks like possibly some dry air is also trying to intrude and come in. So we're going to see how that plays an effect with its intensity. But we're also seeing deep convection to the north here, as you can see. And the whole storm is expanding. So there's a chance the dry air may not do enough, or if anything, with this system. The thing I want to point out is the outflow here. That really allows the storm to breathe better. It allows more air to come up through the center and move out and away within the outer bands, the outflow. And so that just draws more warm air in near the center. So it allows the storm to intensify. It allows the storm to breathe better. We'll talk about the forecast modeling with this hurricane. Just going to go over the forecast model, talk a little bit about it, look at the rain that we could be seeing with it, the intensity with this as well. So again, wind speed will also be playing a huge impact with this hurricane, especially in those, in the Grenadine Islands, Grenada, and St. Vincent. So just based on this, we're seeing an air pressure. Aircraft reconnaissance found an air pressure of about 964 millibars, and HWRF has been pretty aggressive with this storm, and so possibly, HWRF was actually more accurate with this one than any of the other models, and especially when it comes down to the intensity forecast with this system. But again, even they're showing only 971 by the time it approaches Grenada. Right there is Grenada, St. Vincent, and then the Grenadine Islands right in between. Sorry, Grenada's here. These are the Grenadine Islands. Then that's St. Vincent and the Grenadines right here. And then north of that is St. Lucia, and then that's Barbados. And then north of this is Martinique. Still learning my islands, y'all. But this storm is going to still show some intensification. At 955, 123 knots. That's very, very powerful right there, possibly 140 miles an hour. 131.5 knots. That's very, very intense right there. So we're going to just see how intense the storm really gets. Could we possibly see 140, 145, possibly 150 miles an hour? Possible. I mean, the storm has really just exploded and continued to intensify, continue to intensify. Now, at what point does it start to weaken? That's what we're trying to figure out. So we're looking at some of the models. The modeling is showing the wind shear starting to decrease there in the Caribbean Sea. So how strong does this get? At what point does it start to begin to weaken? That's what we're trying to figure out. Now, I don't want to go too far into the future, just mainly because, these storms, they can be very, very difficult to predict for sure. You can look at that, 120 knots, even this far in, 96 hours, 110, 115. It's still 941 millibars. According to the HWRF, it shows very powerful hurricane moving into the Caribbean, Central and West, staying really strong, all the way to the Western Caribbean there, and making landfall as a powerful, dangerous hurricane there in the Yucatan Peninsula. There you go. There it is. 947 millibars, 941 there. 113 knots, probably about 130 miles an hour right there. It's category 4. So, based on what we're seeing with this, HWRF, we're showing it to be intense. It has become more intense than any of the other models are expecting it. So, in terms of intensity, now is it going to be this intense? That's the thing. We don't really know when the wind chill is going to start to die down. So, looking into Yucatan Peninsula, in Mexico, if you are watching this from there, Cuba, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, as much as I hate it, Haiti, you all have to, because even if it doesn't make a direct landfall there in Haiti, here's Jamaica, and then there's Haiti up there, it'll be close enough where you'll still get impacts, not direct, indirect. You may have some choppy waves, bigger waves, rip currents. So if you're out on the beach, there'll be rip currents. And also be looking at some of the outer rain bands could be producing an isolated tornado or two. We may see some heavy rain coming through. It just depends how big do these bands get. When we saw a tropical storm, I think it was Alberto. A tropical storm, Alberto, we were seeing those lots of heavy rain and gusty winds, 35, 40 mile an hour wind gusts coming into Galveston, Corpus Christi. There were tropical storm warnings literally 1,000 miles away from the center. So that was a completely different system, though, and every system is different. But it does get very close to Jamaica. It does not make a direct landfall, but certainly tropical storm force winds and hurricane force wind gusts are likely, according to this model, and possible as well. Flooding will also be a big issue. But again, as this moves through, as you can see here, they're making landfall there. Looks like Caracas, one of the islands there. Again, could be bringing in those category. The eye goes right over it. So in the northern part of that island, and then on the islands north of it, would also be seeing the eye wall of the hurricane, where they could be seeing those 100 plus mile per hour winds. Again, that's only showing 970 at 91 knots. And guess what? It's at 105 knots right now. And this one's showing it to be a little bit more aggressive. It looks like they just passed through again. What are we seeing here? Trying to look at this right quick. Not seeing anything. But again, look, in order to bring this up, it was at 969 earlier this morning, and then they found the air pressure again there at 964 millibars, and they were able to find a wind there at 105 knots, sustained there at the surface, which is 120 miles an hour. Based on how fast the storm is intensifying, I do expect the the National Hurricane Center to definitely have this at 120 miles an hour, possibly stronger depending on how much more organization and intensity that we are seeing with the storm right now. Again, here is Barbados. We're seeing Barbados there, and then that looks like, yeah, this is Martinique, I believe, St. Lucia, and then this, right, the one below is St. Vincent and the Grenadine right here in this area. So, again, those outer bands are making their way closer towards Barbados right now. Category 4 hurricane, or Category 3 hurricane. Very well defined storm, lots of convection near and more deep convection around that, wrapping around that center. So that is a sign that we are seeing some more intensification with this storm. We're starting to see those darker, colder colors, those blacks, those whites, those dark reds, and then a clearing center. If you're curious what the visible high resolution looks like, this is what we're looking at. And again, looking at this, possibly some dry air coming in from the north. A little bit concerning for the storm. It would be very, very good news for the people, but based on how this storm has performed, there has been very little sign of weakening with this system, unfortunately. Refresh here. So again, 115 miles per hour right now. They have found winds there at 105 knots. It's 120 miles per hour. So it did look like it went through the storm again. Air pressure, 963 millibars. The last one we saw was 964, I believe, 0.7. This one they went through, we found 963.3 millibars. So again, every time they go through, the air pressure is a little bit lower every single time. Which just shows that the storm is still intensifying, still strengthening. And look at that, 110 knots right there, folks. At least 110 knots twice. So that's also very concerning. 110 knots is 125 miles an hour. 105 knots is 120 miles an hour. 115 knots is 130 miles an hour. So 125 would be 145 miles an hour. I think 137 knots is 157 miles per hour. So that is what we are seeing with this. As you can see, we're starting to see these colors right through here, between these two right here, which is a little bit concerning because of how strong the storm appears to be. So that air pressure again is dropping as we speak. So I don't want to make this too terribly long, but I do want to make sure I get all the information out that I need to about all these about the islands and stuff, and regarding again the rainfall being a very big threat to this area. Grenada, the Grenadines, really mainly the Grenadine Islands right there, where they believe the core of the storm will go through. Again, these are volcanic islands trained, so there are mountains. It's a very mountainous region. And so there will be flash lightning and mudslides will also be possible. So, in case you're wondering, I want to give a quick refresh to what a hurricane warning is. Alright, so basically a hurricane warning just means that hurricane conditions, winds excess of 74 miles per hour, are expected within the warned area. Now, preparation to protect life and property should be rushed to completion. Now, tropical storm warning just means that tropical storm conditions are expected within the next 36 hours. Tropical storm watch means that tropical storm conditions are possible within watch area, generally around 48 hours or so. The forecast track and intensity. Hurricane Beryl is expected to continue its quick northwestward motion over the next several days on this track, and its center is expected to move across the Windward Islands early Monday and across southeastern Caribbean Sea, by Monday night and into Tuesday. So Beryl again is expected to become a Category 4 based on the information we're getting. The storm is continuing to intensify. Usually we see a sharp increase in winds and a sharp decrease in air pressure. The air pressure is still slowly going down, and that winds are going up pretty quick. So pretty soon we'll probably see a sudden decrease, like below 960, like 958 millibars or something, or 955. Talked about the hazards, some key messages. So again, remember, it's going to be a dangerous Category 4 hurricane, and I do want to reiterate that this is very historic. The last hurricane to be this far east was 1933, which is a pretty catastrophic hurricane season. The last hurricane to be this far east, this early in the season, was Hurricane Elsa back in 2021. But 1933, we had a Category 1 hurricane that was a little bit farther east of Elsa, but we've never had a major hurricane this far east in the main development region in June. Early July, very late June. So I really want to just reiterate all that. There's not a whole lot else to talk about. Again, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to comment any questions down below. I will be answering them. I do have work today, but I will do my best to answer them. We do have team members who will also be answering them if I am not able to. So you will be getting a response regardless. And just want to reiterate that if you're here in this area, please just remember, be safe where you're at, hunker down, be prepared, have water with you, have food, have your medication, have no perishables, no meats or anything like that. You know, chips are great to snack on, and a gallon of water for everyone in the household. So this is very, very serious situation beginning to unfold as this has it. I would even say this is possibly unprecedented. A major Category 3, possibly Category 4 hurricane closing in on the Grenadines and the Caribbean Ocean there in the month of July. That's July starts tomorrow. This is very, very historic. So that is going to wrap up what we have for today. You want to just take a look at the last drop zone. Oh, it's just the surface. Okay. But that's what we have today, guys. Again, thank you so much for watching. Anybody has any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to comment them in the comment section below. But for now, that's going to be it. Stay safe out there. Take care. As always, peace out.